Hello everyone and welcome to our 1.5 lesson. We're still going to be working with inequalities this week, but we're just going to be doing multi-step inequalities. So just kind of adding on that extra couple steps here. Once you have this slide open, put your name on that first slide, and then when you're ready, you can push ahead to slide 2. So looking at our table of contents and our learning targets here, our goal by the end of the week is that you are feeling comfortable solving multi-step inequalities in one variable using those inverse operations, right? The opposite of addition is subtraction. The inverse of multiplication is division. The inverse of something being squared is that square root, right? These are all of our opposite inverse operations. I also want to make sure that you are feeling confident in graphing the solution set of inequalities on that number line, and that you can also write inequalities to represent contextual situations with constraints. So these are our 3 learning targets. We're going to go through these 7 examples together. So let's push ahead to slide 3. Okay, here's our first one. It says solve and graph 0 is greater than 9n minus 4n plus 45. So, the first thing we want to do is just write what we have. So I'm going to use my text tool. You can use whatever you would like, but I'm just copying down our inequality. And then what I'm going to do is look for any terms I can combine. So what I noticed is there is this 9n minus 4n. So because they both have an n, we can combine them. 9n minus 4n leaves us with 5n plus 45. I want my n on the left side of the inequality so that it's n blank some number. So I want to move that 5n, and I'm going to do that by subtracting that inverse operation. Because it's a positive 5n, we subtract 5n on the left and we subtract it on the right. So on the left we have this negative 5n is greater than 5n minus 5n cancels out to 0, and we're just left with 45. We're so close to being done, but to know that we're done, we want n completely alone. So this is a negative 5 times n. So we're going to do that opposite operation, which is division, and divide both sides by negative 5. Now remember, when you divide by a negative, we have to flip the sign. So this becomes n is less than negative 9. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 cancels to 1. 45 divided by negative 5 is a negative 9. So here's our final inequality, which means I'm going to put negative 9 in the middle. To the right of negative 9 will be negative 8, numbers getting closer to 0, and to the left will be negative 10, further from 0. So because this is just a less than symbol, it is going to be an open circle on negative 9, and it's less than, so we're shading to the left. Less goes to the left. Beautiful. And so make sure you have everything that you need here and you're feeling good. When you're ready, push ahead to slide 4. Nice job, y'all. All right. Example 2. First thing I'm doing is I'm just copying down the inequality exactly how we see it. I can't type that less than or equal to sign, so I'm just going to make it a less than, and then I'm going to use my little pencil tool to draw that line underneath. Okay? There's a couple ways we could solve this multi-step inequality. We could divide everything by negative 3 first, or we could distribute that negative 3. So I know a lot of the times when people see parentheses, we think of distribute, and I think that's awesome. Distributing is multiplication, right? So we're doing -3 times 7x and -3 times 3. So we have a -21x, because -3 times 7 is -21, and -3 times 3 is a -9. And again, I'm just putting less than, but then I'm using my pen tool to make it less than or equal to draw that line underneath. That's really important. We don't want to lose that. I'm going to bring this 9 over to the other side. It is a -9, so I'm just going to add it, doing that opposite operation. And we have -21x. -9 plus 9 cancel, and then we have 6x plus 9 left on that right side. And again, just using my pencil tool to make sure I'm putting that or equal to sign underneath. We want the x's together, so the last thing I'm going to, well, not the last, but the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this positive 6x by subtracting 6x on both sides. And I'm going to finish my inequality up top here. So now we have -21 minus 6 is a -27x, which is less than or equal to 9. -21 minus 6 is -27. Finally, this is -27 times x, so I'm just going to divide both sides by -27, and I have x. Because I divided by a negative, we're going to, say it out loud, flip the sign. So we have greater than or equal to 9 divided by -27 is the same as -1/3. And I'm going to put my or equal to sign. If you're not sure how I got that, I will show you over to the right. I'm just going to make a little space on my screen. I'm going to use my white marker to like color this part out on the right so that I can show you how I got -1/3. If you want to do that as well, you are welcome to, but you don't have to. You could do it on paper, whatever feels best to you. Great. So we had 9 divided by a -27. So to reduce this fraction, to simplify it, we want to find a number that goes into 9 and into 27. Now I know, if I go to my calculator, that the numbers that go into 9 are 1 times 9 and 3 times 3. So do any of those numbers also go into 27? Well, 27 divided by 9 is 3. So 3 times 9 gets us 27. So our GCF, our greatest common factor here, is 9. The biggest number that goes into 9 and into 27. So what that means here is I can divide the top by 9 and the bottom by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1. -27 divided by 9 is a -3. So we can just say this is -1/3. We can write -1/3 like this. This is the same as making just the 1 negative or just the 3 negative. As long as there's a negative sign there, the fraction is negative. So what I'm going to do on my graph is I'm going to put a -1/3 right there. Let me see if I can make this pencil smaller. Okay. And then to the left, further from 0, I'm going to do a -2/3. And to the right, it would be a 0. So each notch is 1/3. Now our final inequality was x is greater than or equal to negative 1/3. So because it can be equal to negative 1/3, we want to do our solid circle, and then we'll shade to the right. Okay. Beautiful. And when you're all set, push to slide 5. Maybe it's been a while since you have reduced a fraction, but that's that process there, just dividing the top and the bottom by the same number. Okay. Example 3. 6y minus 5 is greater than 2 times the quantity of 4 plus 3y. Great. I'm going to first, just like we did last time, distribute that 2. And when we do that, we have 6y minus 5. That stays the same on the left. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 2 times 3y is a 6y. So now we have distributed that 2 just by doubling the quantities in the parentheses. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to add 5 to both sides, getting rid of that minus 5. So then we have 6y is greater than 13 plus 6y. And to get the y's together, I'm just going to subtract 6y from both sides. And we end up with, I'm going to write it underneath, 6y minus 6y is 0 greater than 13. Because 6y minus 6y cancels to 0, and that happened on the left and the right. So we ask ourselves, is this true? Right? Is 0 bigger than 13? No. So this, we got our variables canceled. Variables canceled, and it's a false statement. So this is no solution. Beautiful. Variables canceled, and it's a false statement, so we have no solution. And when you got that and you're all set, push ahead to slide 6. Just like same thing that happened with equations, if we got our variables to cancel, then it's a false statement, no solutions. Okay, slide 6 here, we have negative 8y minus 3 less than or equal to 18 minus y. So first of all, I'm going to make my or equal to sign underneath there. Perfect. So I want to get the y's together on the left side. So I'm going to add a y to both sides. Negative 8y plus y is a negative 7y minus 3 less than or equal to 18. Oops, I want that in black. Y minus y canceled on the right, which is great. So then we're going to add 3 to both sides. And we get negative 7y is less than or equal to 21. Because negative 3 plus 3 cancel. Final step is dividing by that negative 7. And when we divide by a negative, we flip that sign. So we get y is greater than or equal to negative 3. So I'm putting a solid circle at negative 3. And because it is greater, we're going to the right. I will finish this up in the part 2 of the video. So make sure you got this all down.